Hello everyone. Now this is just to show us how to go about the flat collar pattern for the dress. I've actually drafted my front pattern as usual. I've added my sewing allowance on this. I'm stopping on the half length. For those of you that are doing yours at home, you can extend to your desired length. But for me, this is where I'm going to be stopping my own pattern. So I have the back as well. And when I actually measured from here to this point, it gave me 9.2 cm. You can see after measuring this point to this point, I had 9.2 cm at the center back from the back, and when I measured there, it gave me 12.5 cm. And like I said in the video we had, I said for you to draft your collar, you need to add, you sum together the measurement you're having at the back and in front, and if I total 12.5 cm with 9.2 cm, that's going to give me total of 21.5 cm, 21.7 cm. Do you get it? If you total this and this together, it's going to give 21.7 cm. So this is what I'm going to use to actually draft out my pattern, and that's what happened here. Now you can see that now I have my pattern drafted out just the same way I explained in it on the board. I did my, from this point 0 to this point was my 21.7 cm. I went up 3 cm and I connected. I did everything, and this is how what I got for the pattern of the collar. But don't forget that there are times that you are doing a flat collar on your dress or your pattern, and the center back is having opening. I want the center back collar to be a bit divided. The one I'm doing is strictly for collars that are rounded in shape all through. But then if you are doing the one that actually has a different shape at the back, you can as well do that here. If I'm doing that here, that means I'll come inward like, let's say 3 cm here, and I'm going to do this like this, so that by the time I'm done fixing my collar, I can have the same, when I'm done fixing my collar, I can have the same shape at the back, which means that you can have something like this. So this is more or less like the picture of the front. Now I want to show you for the back, in case the back is having a different collar shape. There's also a possibility that the back pattern also we have a separated shape at the back, and that's normal as well, so you can see it. So I'm going to like show you how to do this on the pattern, not using the drafted collar format, and it is still very much understandable and very straightforward to work with. So for instance, if you are doing the one that had a separated collar, so this is what I did here. I did my 7 cm from MP to this point, and I measured the 7 cm all through to the center front. Now once you have done that, then at this center front area, you measure in 3 cm in, then connect back to the neck tip on the center front, on that neck depth. So you can actually cut out this one and keep. And in case you also now want the back to be like that, so all you need to do is this. You can bring your pattern together. Bring your pattern together and do this. Measure the same 7 cm and do that all through the neck shape of the back. Do the same thing till you get to the center back. So you have this already. So as I was saying, that in case you now want the back part to be separated, that is not stopping along the zip line. Now this one can stop along the zip line. That means you will hide this particular collar inside the zip allowance line. But if you don't want to do it like that, you want the back to be separated, it's not as bad. You also measure 3 cm inward here. Then you connect as well. So now when you have it now, you see that this is what you have as the pattern for your collar. If you can actually like view this very well from the video, you will realize that now I have the collar separated on the center front and at the same time at the back. So I can trace this one out and use it to cut out my kind of collar. So I did the same thing. I've traced out my main pattern and I measured my 7 through and I've separated. So I'm going to cut this one as a template, but don't forget that I'm using the first collar draft to finish this flat collar dress style. So you can still adopt this one and still use it. Looking at this now, this was the one I actually adapted from the front. I traced out on the front pattern and the back. So see the shoulders of this shoulder of the back, this shoulder of the front, and you can see this is my center from where I've actually shaped it. So once I place this was the one I did on the center front, and while this one was the back, and I've shaped the two. Now this is the shoulder area. I'll join it with my masking tape. Now if you place it on the front neckline, you can see what it's giving us now. Placing it here, this is what the shape is giving us. So that means when you are cutting this one, you cannot cut it on fold. It's going to have a seam line here. You're going to have seam line around here, and there'll be a seam line at the center bar because it has been shaped. Do you get it? But the one I'm going to be doing or working on, so that means this one's going to have seam allowance around here and all through. So you are cutting 4 pieces of this. Then the 2 will serve as the main fabric, and the other 2 you're going to be like the fabric you're using to turn, like the facing, to turn up the collar so that you have something worth sewing to the neckline. Do you get it now? So now let's go back to work to our main process. So now I've already cut out my front pattern with the facing, and I've done the same thing for the back. Cut it out with the facing as well. So I want to cut the collar. Now when you're cutting the collar, you need to like make sure that you cut on the crossway of the fabric. That is, you don't cut on the straight grain. Make sure that now I have to fold my fabric this way so that I have this slanting edge. Then this center fold is touching this edge. That's the way you should fold your fabric to cut the collar out. So I'm cutting 2 pieces of this collar, and I'm going to add my seam allowance on all the edges all through. So now it's time to start the joining. I'll join the full bodies, I'll join the lining as well. Then I'll wait to join also the collar. So when I'm done with the collar, I'm going to put the collar in between the facing of the clothes and the fabric itself. So by the time I sew it round, then I'll have my flat collar standing perfectly out. So that's what I want to do now. So this is the collar, and I want to join the collar now. So all I'm going to do for the collar is to join from here toward this piece. This part is the one that is going into the neckline, so I'm not going to sew any part of this area at all. So now I can start. Then you can turn it out. snapping the edges so that they iron it. So I will join the front and the back now, then I will show you how to work with this. So now I've joined the facing. This is my facing. I joined it and I ironed on the shoulder line. So I have to iron on the shoulder line. So I did that. Then the same thing you are doing on the main fabric. So after I ironed, I sewed this round and I ironed it. Then when I was done ironing, I had to place it on the neck area now. So that I can now sew. Like I was saying the other time, you need to place this collar round the neckline. And when you place it around the neckline, there's something that is also important about placing this on the neckline. Then I will now place this one right on right. This calico right on right. Like this. So that would give me a chance to sew, use the facing to turn the neckline and turn it in. Once I do that, the perfect shape of the flat collar is going to reflect on the neckline of the dress. And you have different ways you can always finish, but this is actually the easiest way for you to finish up your flat collar dress. So now, don't also forget the fact that while doing the flat collar sewing on the dress neckline, there is this part of the center front that's important for you to also note. You have to lap this place either by 1/8 or 1/4 inch, so that when you are done turning the facing with the neckline or the lining whatsoever, you will see how the center front of the collar meeting each other, and that's very important. So that you make sure that there is what, an overlap of 1/4 inch, so that by the time you sew, everything is going to come back to having that meeting point at the center front. So that's what I want to do now. So I'm placing that now. So placing this on this. So let me just finish round. Now that you have put the facing, the collar in between the facing and the fabric, the main clothes, then you can now sew around the neckline. And that's what I want to do now. So you can see that my collar is in between, then I have the main fabric now. So let me start the sewing. The major sewing technique here is how to fix this collar. All of that things that you know about making a dress is still very much useful and intact. So once you are done, this is what will happen to your pattern. You have this one aligning correctly. So you just throw in the facing, join the side, then you are done with your work. So once you are done, You turn everything you need to turn inward or outward, as the case may be. Now looking at it, this is what I have now. And when you turn it, you still get a good, bright, beautiful result of your work. So when it turns down,